that's how I'm doing. Hi guys, what's up? My name is Lauren Danielle. This is the first time you're seeing my face. Welcome to my channel. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already and become a part of our family. Huge disclaimer before I get started on this video. Make sure if you're family, if TMI videos bother you, if just birth or bodily parts and functions and fluids and everything bothers you, not the video to watch. Go ahead and click off now. Go watch some more of my other videos. They're a little more G-rated and PG-rated, but this is going to be a bit of a TMI video. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started on this video. So I guess first of all we can talk about a little bit about my mental health. And mentally I have been doing great. Honestly, the last video I uploaded before this, I touched a little bit more on my mental health as far as how I'm adjusting to 1 and 2 kids. So I don't want to go too in detail on that because I did go so much in detail on that video. So go ahead and click over to that video if you want to watch that. But I'm doing great. It's been a little overwhelming and I'm losing my patience with my kids a lot more just because this adjustment period going from 1 to 2 has been a little bit harder. But other than that, I'm doing as expected, and I'm happy and I'm full of joy and surrounded by love. So that part of my life is going really good. Health-wise, now, if you have been keeping up and watching my videos throughout my pregnancy, I did have gestational diabetes and I did have to change my diet a lot. They basically had me on a low-carb diet, and with that diet, I have learned that my eating habits outside of being pregnant were not too good. I was eating fast food a little bit too much, and I was having a lot of carbs. So that kind of taught me that whole experience that I do want to be more on the healthier side and have a lot more vegetable options and just kind of making healthier choices for my body. So I am going to be kind of still following that diet, obviously letting myself have treats and spoiling myself when I need a cookie or when I want a Dr. Pepper or things like that. So not as strict, but I do kind of want to be following at least the same guidelines as far as how many carb intakes I have a day and things like that. And then I do really just want to say that I am in no way, shape, or form saying I'm fat when I say this. I actually kind of like the weight gain that I have. I just would like to be more toned. So with that being said, I do want to find a workout routine or regimen that kind of works for me and my schedule with having 2 very small kids that need a lot from me right now. So I know that's going to be difficult. I know the gym's like totally out the door because I can't afford a gym with childcare. So I'm gonna have to be finding something that works with me at home, and once I get on a routine and I find something that works for me, I will take you guys along with like a workout routine / what I eat in a day if you guys would like to see that. Comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. I'll be happy to do that once I do get a routine, so that might be quite a couple more months, but that is definitely in my plans as far as postpartum. Now physically, this has been so different than my postpartum with Blakelyn. I didn't bleed as long. I was actually done bleeding by like a week. I definitely wasn't in much pain. Again, it was different. I had stitches with Blakelyn and I didn't tear or need stitches with Rowan. So totally different as far as recovery wise. Physically, I've been honestly back to my normal self after like day 3. I was kind of walking a little funny because I mean there's some things going on down there that is not normal, such as a huge thing comes out of our vagina. So there was some weird walking for a couple days, but we're back to normal. We've been back to normal for quite some time. I mean bleeding, yeah, I mentioned that. So I did have a slight period last week. It was like 4 days and I was kind of like confused on what it was because I did stop bleeding for such a like a 3-week, almost a month span of time. And then I randomly had this 4 days where I was like kind of bleeding, kind of not. Some days where it was heavier than others. And I spoke to my midwife about it at my 6 weeks postpartum appointment with her yesterday, and she said that it sounded like it was a period, and I probably won't have any more as long as I continue breastfeeding, which is in my plan. By the way, breastfeeding has been going great. Rowan has more of a latch. I've done it in public a couple times, and I'm just so different than what I was. I was so modest and like sneaking in my car to breastfeed Blakelyn, but it's just so different this time. I'm not scared to whip it out anywhere. I don't care. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna like have my whole boob out, but I'll have it like out like that. It's just totally different. It's been going really good, and honestly I know I can't foresee the future. Things always could happen, but I would honestly maybe like to do it a little over a year if it keeps going as planned. But yeah, breastfeeding has been going really good. I haven't had any like horrible experiences like people like the mastitis and the nipple cracking. I did have like, obviously my nipples are really sore sometimes, but it's getting better now that we kind of reached the, when she cluster feeds, that's when it's really bad. And she has little growth spurts where she cluster feeds, but other than that, my nipples are good. I kind of can't feel it anymore. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing actually, but they kind of numb. And then I did get like one, I wouldn't even call it a stretch mark. Honestly, I had my belly button pierced for years, and then like 2 years ago I took it out. So it's like, I had a stretch mark up starting to appear in like the very late stages of pregnancy, and it was so light, and honestly you can barely even see it now. So I'm thinking in like a month it'll be gone. But other than that, I really didn't get too many stretch marks on my stomach, like I have more than one on my stomach. Now for some odd reason after pregnancy, not while I was pregnant, I don't even know what to call it, not my hips because these are my hips, but like a little bit lower, kind of like my outer thigh I guess you can say, those things blew up after I got pregnant. Like all of my weight from my stomach went to my thighs. So I actually went up a whole pant size, even though I lost, like, I don't know, I've never experienced this before. Moral of the story, my thighs got bigger. I got some stretch marks on my thighs after I had Rowan, and then from my thighs getting so big, I was in a tube. I fit in my pre-pregnancy jeans 48 hours after I had her, and like 3 weeks after all of that happened, 3 weeks after I went back to normal and I had her and I was in my pre-pregnancy jeans, I could no longer fit in those jeans. I went from a 2 to a 4 just because of my hips and my thighs. I don't understand it. It's crazy bizarre that basically my weight just went from my stomach to my thighs. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that I really did. I did have a mental breakdown over it because, I mean, what girl honestly likes stretch marks? Yep, I was crying in my room. I locked myself crying in my room, and Mason, you know, had a guys handle that. Well, what's wrong? If you're watching this video, you're a trooper. You're great. But yeah, so that's pretty much about my body. Honestly, it's been easy peasy lemon squeezy from what actually happens to our body, this traumatic thing. It's been pretty swell so far. I mean, I'm pretty over that hump of something happening. But yes, and now sex. So I know every single woman out there worries about sex after a baby. I did it with my first child with Blakelyn, and I definitely worried about it after 2 kids. But let me just tell you, our vaginas are literally made for this. Thank God. I don't know, he like knew what he was doing when he created the human or the woman's body, because the thing just goes straight back to normal. It happened with 1 kid, and I don't know, like I guess I was thinking like, oh, I done had 2 kids out of there, like something's gonna happen or something's gonna be different, but it's not. Like, I just worry myself and work myself up for nothing because it totally goes back to normal. Now I will say that my midwife was pretty open about, since I didn't have stitches, I didn't necessarily have to wait the full like 6 weeks if I didn't want to. She said that whenever I started to feel like I wanted to have sex, there was feeling sexual. Most women don't. I guess I'm just like a sexual person. I could say we had sex. I was probably about a little over a month, like within that kind of week period, because I remember us talking about it before we did, because I was a little concerned about it still. And I will say, as far as like the feeling, it was still there. Everything went back to normal, but it did hurt. Like obviously we just had like a whole baby come out of there. It was a bit sore, so I told him that it wasn't the most comfortable thing. We ended up waiting another week, so I was like 5 weeks, and we have been doing it ever since. It's not painful anymore. I will say certain positions, like kind of like I'm like, ugh. But other than that, it's going, our sex life's going pretty good. This is so awkward to talk about on camera. But I know I was one to watch these videos after, or like while I was pregnant. Like, I mean, a woman's just curious about these things. But it's going pretty good. I don't know how I'm ever going to have a sex talk with my kids because I'm like so awkward. It's a going. But yeah guys, that's how I'm doing postpartum. I guess I will show y'all my little tummy bummy now. It's nothing special, but that's what we come for. Y'all ever seen that video of this lady's stomach after she had triplets? Now, that was crazy. That was crazy. That was, her stomach looked so good. Like, that was crazy. Anyways, off topic.
Thank you for mommy's video.
Say we love you.
And they want.
Say bye. Oh, so sweet. Say bye.
Bye.